Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we are doing something very exciting that we haven't done since September of 2023 because I was going through a lot of medical problems. I still have got some medical problems going on, but we're dealing with them. They seem to be getting better. So we're going to go back to doing our TBR game. And if you've watched this TBR game before, you know how chaotic this thing is. I made it so more complicated than I needed it to be, but at the same time, it's kind of fun because the prompts are unhinged. I don't know what I was doing when I came up with the prompts. I don't know why I didn't choose like really easy things. Instead, I chose like the most complicated prompts on the planet, and like for books that I don't even have in my house. Like that's the worst part, is I don't even have half the books in my house. I don't know what I was thinking. But anyway, yeah, we're doing the TBR game. If you have never watched TBR game, I do recommend going and finding the very first one because I explain it a little more thoroughly. But basically some of the rules is we have a game board that you will see a little bit later, and there is a island for each genre. I roll, they each have a number that coordinates to that genre, and then I roll again for a specific prompt. So I feel like it's pretty intuitive, but if you don't get it, like I said, it should make more sense if you actually see it. And then some of these side rules is that if I don't do a prompt from the previous rolls, then I go backwards the next time, because the point is to get through an area and then I'm allowed to buy a book of that genre specifically without feeling any guilt because it's part of the game, because that means I read a ton of books in that genre. And I also have like mandatory stops to slow the game down since there's not like a ton of prompts, because coming up with the prompts is really hard. So there's mandatory stops that actually stop me from continuing forward, and once I hit those, I have to do them until I read a book with that. It doesn't matter how many months go by, I have to read that. I cannot move from that space. So let's quickly go over September's game and what I passed and what I failed. So back in September, I rolled, as usual, 5. We always do 5. And I had one of the mystery spots that I landed on, we had already done, so I ended up only with 5 books, or 5 prompts. And the other mystery we landed on with, it has an affair in the synopsis. That was because we were in the like neighborhood area of mystery and thrillers, so domestic thrillers. And I did pass this one. I did read The Ski Trip, which was a 1 star. It was so bad. It was so bad. And then we had a fantasy pick, which was Nature Magic, and I read Chasm. Again, didn't really love that one. Then we had a romance pick, and it was Water on the Cover, and I didn't really read any romance, so I did fail this one. So if we roll romance this month, then we will be going backwards instead of forwards. And then the last roll was for a sci-fi, and it was space theme of the book or space on the cover. And I read Red Shirts, which was literally perfect, and I loved it, and it was 5 stars. It was so much fun. That was a really, really fun book. So I did only fail one, so kind of fingers crossed we don't roll romance, because I just don't want to read romance. But if I don't roll it this month, then the next time I roll it, even if it's like 4 months from now, I do still have to go backwards. Like I don't get out of the punishment just because I don't roll it this month. And that is kind of the little recap of where we are. I think romance is the only genre that we have to go backwards in, because I think my punishments were in sci-fi and mystery the last time, and I did go forwards in those, or I did go backwards in those already, and I passed them. So I think we're good on that front. I think we only have romance that we have to go backwards in. So yeah, I am hoping that I roll mystery and sci-fi. Mystery and sci-fi are the 2 that I want to read and I have a ton of books for. Kind of my goal this month and my hopeful TBR is that we are actually going to be reading a bunch of aardvark picks. I really want to catch up in my aardvark books because I'm not getting any aardvark books in January. I think it's a really good time to catch up on it, just in case there is stuff that I want to get next month, because again, I'm trying to keep up with these things. I don't need it to be a book of the month situation where I have a million book of the months and I'm not caught up in them. I'm not caught up. So this January feels like a number 1 sci-fi month, just because I really want to read sci-fi. And number 2, I think it's going to be a book box book of the month and aardvark catch-up month. So that's kind of my plans. I don't know if that'll stick. You know how bad I am at keeping up with a TBR, which is kind of why I try to do this game, to force myself to actually read some backlist things. Because I do try to just read backlist in these TBR videos. I try not, I'm not buying new books for the prompts. It has to be backlist. So I have like the perfect ones. Black Sheep, which is horror, so I guess we could do horror as long as I get the prompt. That's the key, is the prompts. The prompts. prompt. And then I have like The Drowning Woman, Cassandra in Reverse, which is like literary fiction. And I don't have literary fiction as a genre in mind because I don't read those. So I could probably fit that in somewhere. Ascension, which could be horror or sci-fi, I feel like. Probably more on the sci-fi, so that would also work for sci-fi. And I think I have a couple more. I'm like trying to like rack my brain for them. And then of course any book of the months. If any of them fit book of the month picks, that would be fantastic because I can get through those. So like I said, backlist month. January is backlist month. So if you're watching this, motivate you. I'm motivating you to read backlist this month, which is sad because I really want to read new books. And I literally, what I'm reading right now is Daisy Hates because I literally just got it in the mail and I'm like obsessed with that series. So I'm reading Daisy Hates instead of reading my backlist, which is the opposite of what I'm trying to get you guys to do. So anyway, let's actually roll and figure out what our prompts are, and let's figure out our TBR for this month. First, we need to make our 5 genre rolls. Oh man, of course, the one month that I actually like didn't want horror to be picked, so we're getting a horror pick. Number 2, we are getting another horror. Oh my gosh. I don't even know if I have that much horror in the house. A 1, so that is sci-fi. That's what I wanted. Another sci-fi. So we got 2 horror, 2 sci-fi, and our final roll is a 3rd sci-fi. All right, so for our first horror roll, our first prompt is number 4. For our second horror roll, we have a 3. For our first sci-fi roll, we have a 5. For our second sci-fi roll, we have a 1. And for our 3rd sci-fi roll, we have a 5. Okay, so we are first going to do sci-fi, and we have to work on this one a little bit because technically I rolled a 5 first, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that means we would only get 1 book. So I'm actually going to do the number 1 prompt first because we actually have not done that mandatory prompt. So first I'm going to say we did a 1, so we're going to do this prompt, and then one of the 5s is 1, 2, 3, 4, but we have to stop because that is a mandatory prompt. And that means we have to do that mandatory prompt before we go any farther. So that takes off at least 1 roll from picking sci-fi. Just like sci-fi, I'm going to say that I rolled the lower number first just to get the maximum number of prompts and books that I can get. So even though I rolled a 4 first, that would put us at a mandatory stop. So I'm going to say I rolled the 3 first. So we are moving 1, 2, 3. And then I rolled a 4, so we're going to go here, and we're going to do the prompts here and here because of the mandatory stop. I feel like that could not have gone any worse. That could not, like literally that couldn't have gone any worse. Because I've looked up what the prompts are. And they are not what I wanted. And I swear, I am absolutely unhinged when it came to making these prompts. Like, what was I doing? I feel like I was a different person when I made these prompts. Like, who was I? Was I being creative? Did I think I was being so special and amazing and unique by making these prompts as annoying as possible? Yeah, I was. That's who I was. So annoyed with myself. Anyway, yeah, rolled 2 horrors and 3 sci-fis. I said I wanted sci-fi. Which feels like a mistake at this point. And I'm just like, oh, you idiot. You're an idiot. So yeah, let's go over the prompts that we rolled for. Starting off with sci-fi, we did roll a 5, a 1, and a 5, and we did have a mandatory stop. So one of those does go away. So that leaves us only with 4 prompts, which is kind of nice with how badly I rolled and what these prompts are, because it's gonna be bad. So first, the non-mandatory is you can spell crater in the title. What? What? I don't even have that many sci-fi books right now. Like, I just recently bought some sci-fi books, so I don't have that many on backlist. Ooh, okay. Actually, I think, does it have a C in it? I'm looking at Some Desperate Glory. That does not have a C in it. The Red Scholar's Wake. Red Scholar's Wake? The Red Scholar's Wake. Okay, let me grab that one. I love how I was getting mad at myself, but I think this actually works. So spelling crater, we have the C-R-A-T-E-R. an R again. So yeah, this is perfect. This is sci-fi. This spells creator in the title. And yeah, what is this one about? This is a backlist Illumicrate book. I don't know how to say that. Oh, I don't know how to say that. It's XICHSI. Bot maker, data analysis, mother, scavenger, but those days are over for now. Her ship has just been captured by the feared Rice Fish, leader of the Red Banner pirate fleet, famous for their double dealing and cruelty. The best this person can hope for is to become an indentured servant and work out her days in peace. The worst is to be tortured to death for sport by the pirates who hold her life in their hands. Ricefish, sentient ship, leader of the infamous... Oh yeah, okay, I remember this now. Sentient ship. Leader of the infamous Red Banner pirate fleet, wife of the Red Scholar, or at least she was until her wife died under suspicious circumstances. Now isolated, alone, and unloved, Ricefish wants to find out who struck against them and why, and whether she and her people are still in danger. Set against a backdrop of an interstellar war against piracy and the Five Fleets' brutal fight to survive each other, and the attackers arrayed against them, this is an exciting space opera and a beautiful romance from an exceptional science fiction author. This is perfect. This is exactly the kind of stuff that I wanted to read. Okay, I, again, was making fun of myself, thought that I was so lame for putting that in there, and I ended up with a winner right away. So I love the ombre edges. Like I said, this is a Illumicrate copy. It is so pretty. We've got lots of pretty things going on. So this is a good one. I'm excited about this one. So let's check out what the second sci-fi prompt is. Okay, so this was our mandatory stop. We have come across a rocket debris field fight with an alien. So the book has to have an alien or a monster in it. Sci-fi book with an alien or a monster. Is there a monster in Some Desperate Glory? Because I'm that's what I'm looking for. I'm making eye contact with like this specific shelf, even though it's my Cassandra Clare shelf, but there's like random other books on it. So we'll look at Some Desperate, oh my gosh, the sun. We'll look at Some Desperate Glory. I'm looking at this is actually my sci-fi shelf over here. We have not that many that I haven't read. There's Goddess in the Machine, but I don't think that has a monster. The Surviving Sky, I think, is eco-terrorism. So that's not it. And that's pretty much all that I have on my sci-fi shelf over there. Oh, The Chilling Effect, but I don't think that's monsters. Okay, I'm gonna have to look upstairs because I do have more sci-fi upstairs. Okay, so here are like my best attempts potentially at monsters in something. We have Ascension, Wool, and the Immortality Thief. I don't think any of them actually have a monster in it. Okay, this is they're being hunted in Ascension. I could work with that. All slithering ancient creatures pursue them in the snow. This could work. This could work. And I would, yeah, Ascension is a science fiction mystery that uses a classical concept, but with a beating heart. Suspense and science. Okay, this could work. Let me look at the other two, but I think this one works. Okay, Wool doesn't work. This is more about like survival. And then I did get the Immortality Thief, which I know is a horror sci-fi. I just don't know what kind of horror it is. Okay, so this says refugee criminal Sean Wren has made an offer he knows he can't refuse: life in prison or salvaging data in a long dead language from an abandoned ship filled with traps and monsters. Ooh, okay, so this also works. Ooh, I feel like this is more what I was thinking of when I wrote the prompt, but Ascension is like, I don't know. Either of these will work. I am equally interested in picking up both of them. I could potentially read both of them. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm more interested in this one just because it's more close to what the prompt says, and I've had this one for, I think, longer. Actually, I don't know which one I've had for longer. I've had both. These are both backlists, so both of these work. But like I said, I really wanted to read my Aardvark picks, and I am going to be doing an Aardvark vlog to get through all of the books. So it's more likely I'll read this one, but I kind of want to read this one more. So either one works for this prompt. And if I do read both of them, that kind of makes up for the missing prompt for sci-fi. So that actually works out pretty well. So we do have 3 books for 2 prompts, but it works out because 1 prompt is missing. Okay, so we are moving on to the horror category. We do have 2 prompts in here. We have 1 regular prompt and 1 mandatory as well. So that's pretty cool that we have 2 mandatories in this. So hopefully this goes well. Again, I don't have that many horror books, and I will throw in a borderline thriller horror into this category if I feel like I want to. But I do have a couple of horror that I need to get through, but I'm pretty good about reading my horror when I get it, because normally I either like it or don't like it. That's just kind of how it works. And I have already DNF'd a horror this month. I read an e-arc of This Wretched Valley and it was not for me. So I'm gonna laugh if that book fits one of these prompts. I will be very mad if it does. Our first prompt is ghost or ghost hunting. That is something that definitely normal me thought of, because that tends to be the horror books that I like, and I think this one could work. We have The Haunting by Natasha Preston. I feel like this is spot on. This has nothing to do with ghosts. What? What the heck? I picked this up for sure thinking that this was a ghost thing, but it says haunted by the past, terrified of the present. This has to do with serial killers. What? Oh my gosh. I literally picked this up not reading the back because I thought it was a haunting. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Okay, I gotta go find one of my Darcy Coates books, because they're all haunting books. So I gotta go find one of those. I am so confused right now. I went and grabbed one of my Darcy Coates. When did I start this? Like, it's got a bookmark, it has tabs in it, and I never tab books. What was I doing? What? And why did I stop reading it? I am so confused. I am beyond confused, but this is the perfect thing. This is ghosts, this is haunting. Yeah, we'll read this one, but I'm so confused. Did I DNF this and not realize I DNF'd it? No, because I take bookmarks out if I DNF. I'm so confused. We're gonna read this one. We're gonna read this one. Then the very last prompt is also for horror, like I said, and it is a mandatory prompt, and we are leaving the haunted house area. So it is kill the killer, but obviously they escape because they always do. That was definitely a Halloween reference. Read a horror sequel or a horror with a sequel. I thought that was actually pretty smart. Like, I was applauding myself for that one. And like I said, I was definitely taking some inspiration from the Halloween movies because they always escape. They always escape. So I think the perfect one for that is another Darcy Coates. This is the first in the Whispering Dead series. I actually don't even know what the actual series is called, but it is a pretty short Darcy Coates as well. And it sounds really good. I got this a while ago. Homeless, hunted, and desperate to escape a bitter storm, Kira takes refuge in an abandoned groundskeeper's cottage. Tucked away at the edge of a cemetery, it's surrounded on all sides by gravestones, some recent, some hundreds of years old, all suffering from neglect. And in the darkness, she can hear the unquiet dead whispering. The cemetery is alive with faint spectral shapes led by a woman who died before her time, and Kira, the only person who can see her, has become her new target. Determined to help put the ghost to rest, Kira digs into the spirit's past life with the help of unlikely new friends and discovers a history of deception, ill-fated love, and murder. But the past is not as simple as it seems, and Kira's time is running out. Tangled in a dangerous web, she has to find a way to free the spirits, even if it means offering her own life in return. I think that's perfect. So these are the 5 books that I'm going to attempt to read in January, potentially February, because I like to give myself some time doing these prompts so I'm not feeling too much pressure, too much rushing. So we'll say that this is my TBR for January and February. We'll do a TBR game every other month, and I think that'll give me plenty of time to actually read these. So if you are following along and reading the same books as me, because I do know some people do that, these will be the books I'm reading. I will say that I will get through these by the end of February, barring anything happens, because I do have vacations and we are getting ready to move. I'm actually moving houses, if you guys didn't know that yet. So we're moving states as well. So it's not like super far, like it's easy drive. I do need to start packing up the house and getting stuff ready. So yeah, I could find a lot of these on audiobook. I could get through these really quickly on audiobook if I'm doing that. But yeah, so let's plan on reading these. I'm excited. Again, I wanted the sci-fi. Wasn't expecting the horror. I really wasn't ready for horror books, but we always have Darcy Coates in the house, so you can always find something horror in this house. So anyway, that is all I have for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys love the random prompts. They weren't as bad this time. The Crater was funny. I will say Crater was funny. And I feel like I've set myself up for success. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, like I said, and make sure you comment down below if you want to read these books with me or what your TBR is for January/February. And make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe subscribe so you don't miss any future content, and to figure out if I actually end up reading these. That is it for today, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.